I know. She's running to the bathroom. Oh, and there's Anna. She's gonna be here.
She's getting a lot more hair. That's not my hair.
Somewhere around here. Who's asking about you? I'm glad you're here. Also, your ears are everything else here on that desk. That's why.
Oh, there are others.
Okay, we're gonna get started. Well, I just lost our musicians. I don't know where they went, but we're supposed to get started. There they are. Let's get started. Then I realized you guys aren't even here. I don't know. That was bad timing on my part. I apologize. All right, well, welcome in Shabbat Shalom. It's good to see all of you. I'm glad that we can be here. It's kind of a smoky day, huh? What's going on? I heard there's that fire over at Elmore and Dowling. Is it good? Is it still going? Is anyone over there recently? It looks bad. We use that corridor all semi-regularly. So, okay. Well, hopefully the fire's worn out. But anyway, Shabbat Shalom, and we're gonna start with lighting candles. And I'm gonna ask Naomi and Sarah and Lyra. Do you want to come here too? Okay, Naomi and Sarah, up here you go. And we're on page 120 if you want to follow along with prayer books. That's a clever way of doing it. Taking notes. No, you're good. You're fine. Thank you. Okay, and I'm excited to invite the Mitra brothers for an encore day today. Encore Shabbat. And we're on page 128 for Hine Mato.
Nemato Umanaim, Shevet Achim Gam Yachad. Nemato Umanaim, Shevet Achim Gam Yachad. Nemato Nemato, Ya la 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 la. Nemato Nemato, Ya la 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 la. Gam Yachad, Hine Mato Umanayim, Shevet Achim Gam Yachad, Hine Mato, Ya la 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 la, Hine Mato, Ya la 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 la.
38 of your prayer books. We shall recite together paragraphs 1, 5, and 9. When we arrive at paragraph 9, I invite you all to stand up and face the entrance as we lead the Shabbat rite.
Lecha dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala. Shabbat nekabela, shamor vezachor b'dibur echad, ishmi'anu el hamichad, Adonai echad u'shemo echad, l'shemo tiferet v'nefila. Lecha dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. B'nei Shabbat nekabela. Hitoreri, hitoreri, yivarech u'miori. Uri, uri, shidaberi, kevod Adonai alayich nigla. Lecha dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Shabbat nekabela. Boi v'shalom, ateret pala, gam b'simcha u'tzola, toch emunei am segula. Boi chala, lecha dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela.
Like your strumming game. We're moving now to Shalom Alechem on page 142, and you may be seated whenever you like.
Shalom Aleichem, Malakei Hasharet, Malakei Elyon, Mi Melech Malakei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachim leShalom, Malakei Hashalom, Malakei Elyon, Mi Melech Malakei
the Chatzi Kaddish on page 144. Yitgadal v'yitgada shemei rabba be'alma divrach yotev yamlik malchutei b'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chai d'chol beit Yisrael bagala uv'izman kariv v'imeru amen. Yehesh me rabba mevarach le'alam ulal me'almaya yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yipar v'yipramam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitale v'yitala Shumei Kudusha Barichu Le'ela Min Kol Berchata V'Shirata Tushbechata V'Nechemata Damiran Be'alma V'imeru Amen. We move now to the Baruch on page 146. And when you get there, I invite you to rise with us.
Ya la 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 ya la 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 Baruch hu et Adonai Amevorach Baruch Adonai Le'olam va'ed. Baruch Adonai Hamevorach Le'olam va'ed. Le'olam va'ed.
You may be seated. We're moving over to 148 for Ma'ariv Aravim.
Umaviyom, umevi laila. Umavil ben yom uben laila. Adonai tzvot shemo, el chavechayam tamid yimlo. Aleinu le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai, Amariv Aravim. Umaviyom, mevi laila. Umavil ben yom uben laila. Adonai tzvot shemo, el chavechayam tamid yimlo. Aleinu le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai, Amariv Aravim. Ya la la la, ya la la la, ya la la la. Ya la la la, 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 ya la la la. Ya la la la, ya la la la, ya la la la, ya la la la, ya la la.
I want you to join me on top of page 151 in the English. As you taught Torah to those whose names I bear, teach me Torah too. Its mystery beckons, yet I struggle with its truth. You meant Torah for me. Did you mean the struggle for me too? Don't let me struggle alone. Help me to understand, to be wise, to listen, to know. Let me lead into the mystery. Baruch atah Adonai Ohev Amo Yisrael. Over to the Shema on page 152. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malachuto Leolam Vaed. 154. V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha v'chol levacha v'chol nafshecha v'chol meyodecha v'hayu ha'devarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinartam levarnecha v'divardam ba'am B'shivtecha b'veitecha, uvetecha havaderech, ushofbecha uvkumecha, ukshartam leyot al yadecha, v'hayu letotafot b'neinecha, uktaftam al mezuzot beitecha, uvisharecha, leman tiskeru v'tzitem et chol mitzvotai, Vitem kiroshim leloechem, ani Adonai Elohechem, asher hotzeti etchem meretz Mitzrayim, liot lachem lelohim, ani Adonai Elohechem. We move to page 158 for the Micha Mocha.
Micha mocha ba'elim Adonai, Micha mocha neda b'chodesh, Nora tehilot osef eleh, Nora tehilot osef eleh. Micha mocha ba'elim Adonai, Micha mocha neda b'chodesh, Nora tehilot osef eleh, Nora tehilot Malchut Kara uvenecha, bokei hayam lifnei Moshe uMiriam. Ze Eli anu ve'amru, ze Eli anu ve'ameru. Adonai lo le'olam va'ed. Adonai lo le'olam va'ed. La 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 la
We move now to the Shamru on page 162.
Beshamru b'nei Yisrael et haShabbat, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. בני לאומים, בני ישראל, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות
page 164 of your prayer books. When you arrive there, I invite you to stand with us. Adonai sefatai tiftach ufia gita hilatecha. Adonai sefatai tiftach ufia gita hilatecha. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Elohei Avotenu Eloheinu Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzhak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el HaGadol, HaGibor VeHaNorah, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'Konei HaKol, V'Zocher Chasdei HaTov V'Imano. Umevi Ulam Nipnei B'neihem L'man Shemo V'Yahava Melech Ozer Mashiach U'Magen Baruch Atah Adonai Magen Avraham Ezra Sarah Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai Mechayeh Kol HaTarah L'Yoshia Morid HaTa'am Mechalkel Chaim V'Chesed, Mechayeh HaKol V'Rachamim Rabim. Somech Noflim V'Ropeh Cholim, U'Matir Asurim, U'Mechayeh Emunato, Nishenei Achar, Nichamocha V'Al Giburo. Umidon Elah, Melech Memid U'Mechayeh, U'Matziach Yeshua, V'ne'eman Chayot Taho, Baruch Atah Adonai, Mechayeh HaKol. We'll now continue silently until page 180. You may be seated whenever you like.
Ose shalom bimroma, Uyase shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, vimru, vimru, amen. Ose shalom bimroma, Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Israel vimru, vimru, amen. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Israel. Ya'aseh shalom, Ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh shalom, Ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh shalom, Ya'aseh shalom, shalom.
Okay, so about my sermon tonight. On Sunday, I'm leaving for Camp Kelsman, which is a Jewish sleepaway camp, which I staff, and I'm the faculty there. And so I spent the whole week working on that and not necessarily working on a sermon. But one thing that I do at the camp is I write my very own Shabbat story to give, like a big Shabbat story that I offer at the camp every year. This is my second year, so I guess this is the second time I'll be offering it, but you know how that is. Anyway, so what I want to do is I wrote the story myself, and I need to workshop it a bit before I get over there. So I want to tell you all the story, and I want to see what you think about it, okay? Okay, here we go. All right, so this story is about a camper named OZ. Now, you might not know anyone named OZ, but you definitely know someone like OZ. OZ is that guy who likes to out-Judaism everyone. He's just that guy that does that. For example, you know how when you bend down for the Elena, you're sort of kind of like this? But OZ, he's down like this. And he's looking, making sure he's the lowest. Now that's the way that OZ is. And you know how when we say the blessing of the wine, sometimes we do a short version instead of a long version? Not OZ, long version every time. And if someone else is if the whole group is doing the short version, he's just gonna stick around, wine in his hand, or for OZ, it's actually juice in his hand, the whole version every time. That's the kind of person that OZ is. So one day at camp, OZ is arguing with a camp counselor, and it's a camp counselor he's never met before, a very mysterious figure. And the argument gets really, really heated. And it's about how often you should kashrut your oven. This counselor has the audacity to say twice per year. And OZ's like, no, once per quarter at least. 4 times a year, you gotta kosher that oven. Anyways, it gets very heated. OZ says some things that aren't great about it. Anyways, it turns out this camp counselor is actually Elijah in disguise on Shabbat. And so Elijah gets really frustrated with OZ. And Elijah says, every time that you try to out-Judaism someone else, something's gonna happen. And then poof, Elijah disappears. Now, OZ is, of course, incredibly alarmed, right? This person he's talking to is now all of a sudden gone, and left him a weird message that he didn't quite understand. And so OZ is nervous about this. But all of a sudden, OZ sees a kid walking, carrying books. And my man OZ, he knows if there's no Erev on Shabbat, he can't carry books. And so he goes over there to tell this kid how wrong he is about carrying books on Shabbat. And he opens his mouth when suddenly, and that kid's just staring at him. OZ just sings a song at this kid instead. OZ's doesn't understand what's going on. He's a kid. OZ's voice surprisingly good. Furthermore, it sounds like 3 people are singing every time he sings, but he doesn't know what's going on. So he tries it again. He opens his mouth to tell this kid not to carry books without an Eruv, and suddenly, OZ doesn't know what to do, and this poor kid doesn't know what to do, so OZ just walks off, very frustrated and very worried that he keeps singing instead of trying to help these children understand Shabbat. So he's wandering around very upset about this when he notices some girls are braiding their hair, and OZ knows you don't braid hair on Shabbat, big no-no. So OZ goes over there to tell them. He opens his mouth when suddenly, just that comes out. It sounds great, by the way, but the girls are like, what is happening? Why is this kid coming over to us and singing OZ to us? And OZ is so frustrated. He opens his mouth to sing it again. Suddenly, anyways, so OZ is overhears a conversation while he's strutting off, trying to figure what to do, of these kids who claim they eat peas during Passover. And OZ knows you don't do that. Peas, they rise, they get bigger. That's not something you're allowed to have in Passover. So you need to tell these kids they should not have keys over Passover. So he goes marching right over to them, and he opens his mouth, and suddenly, he just can't get it out. He tries it again. So he hears other kids talking about how in their apartment buildings at home, they use the elevator on Shabbat. And Ozzy knows that's not okay. You got to do that special thing when the elevator stops at every single floor. So he goes up to them to tell them that. And suddenly, he does it again. Anyway, so it's Havdalah. And Ozzy's watching the song leader with the juice, or the wine, and singing the blessing over the juice and the wine, and then dips the candle in it, making it undrinkable. And Ozzy realizes a blessing of wine occurred, and no wine was drunk. Not cool in Judaism. So he marches right over to that camp counselor, that song leader, and opens his mouth, and suddenly, I tell you what, the song leader was jealous because Ozzy's voice is so good. But Ozzy was just so frustrated, tries it again. Ozzy sees someone talking about tattoos, opens his mouth, and suddenly, he sees the counselor cutting at their fingernails totally the not Jewish way. So he wants to go over there and tell the counselor how to cut your fingernails the Jewish way, opens up his mouth, suddenly, tries it again. So the dining room at this camp, they have new dishes, right? Awesome, great. Except that Ozzy's pretty sure these new dishes weren't dipped in a mikvah because there's no mikvahs in a mile from where they are. And you gotta dip new dishes in a mikvah before you use them. So he marches over to the cook and tries to ask him about the dish situation. Instead, suddenly what comes out? Tries it again. Anyways, so at this point, the camp is sick of OZ singing this song over and over again at them. It's becoming a real problem. And OZ does not know what to do because that's the only thing he can say whenever he tries to out-Judaism someone. But the campers, you know what? They're pretty clever. And they realize maybe OZ loves this song so much that he wants everyone to sing with them. So OZ, of course, finds another reason to try to correct a poor camp counselor. But finally this time the kids are in on it, and when they hear him about to sing it for this last time, they decided to sing with him. So OZ starts singing, and suddenly everyone else starts singing too. OZ v'zimrat yah v'yehi lishua. 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 And OZ feels so supported by this camp that he feels bad, that he made everyone feel bad about how they weren't as Jewish as he thought they should be. And then the curse was lifted. The end. There you go. Yeah, the whole point is try to get as many people sick as that song as possible, as fast as possible. No, you guys did great. Great job. Yeah, what was that? Yeah, it's definitely the closing melody for sure. I wish. We should figure that out one year. That would be incredible. Yeah. Well, the thing about camp is it has a lot of song leaders there. So, which is why actually I would want them to go. It's really fun. Anyway, so there you go. That's the story I plan on saying on Shabbat next Shabbat. Where are we now? Misha Bera. Right, Misha Bera. Okay, so that's on page 371 of your prayer books. And in our own community, we're thinking about these individuals who are in need of healing. Tina Mink, Chris Converse, Jennifer Eskridge, Ian Clift, David Tobias, Katie Flagel, Lindsay Raber, Micah Purdy, Sheila Lambriani, Laura Allen, Susan Super, Melba Cook, Emmy Webb, Stephen Lamp, Russell Crass, Bill Ross, Alan Friedman, Russ Nog, Ross Rumack, Norma Haas, Ray Ellis, Judy Cantor, Carol Riven, Diane Kaplan, Philip Kaufman, Jane Anderson, Louis Mayer, Lillian Mayer, Margie Bauman, Ariel Lamp, Emily Weaver, Ginger Spiro, John Johnson, and Jackie Urtischek. If there's someone who you are thinking of who is in need of healing, please feel free to say their names out loud or in your hearts.
Avotenu mekor habracha leimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
We now move to the Eleni on page 587 of your prayer books. And when you arrive there, I invite you to stand with us. I don't know, it's still workshop. Aleinu l'shabel Adon Makol, v'tekila v'yaseh reshi, shehu samtalkinu l'achei shemo, v'oralinu yamlik malchuto, v'anachnu korim, u'mishtachadim u'modim, lifnei melech malchei halayim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Turn to page 591. May we gain wisdom in our lives, overflowing like a river with understanding. Love each of us for the peace we bring to others. May our deeds exceed our speech. May we never lift up our hand, but to conquer fear and doubt and despair. Rise up like the sun, O God, over all humanity. Cause light to go forth over all the lands between the seas, and light up the universe with the joy of wholeness, of freedom, and of peace. V'ne'emar v'haya Adonai l'melech ad kol haaretz v'yom hahu yireh Adonai echad u'shemo Now turn to the mourner's kosh, which you can find on page 598 of your prayer books. And in our own community, we're thinking about these people who are having their yard site, Barry Dushman and Joseph Fisher. If there's someone who you're thinking of, who please feel free to say their names out loud or in your hearts. Zikronom livracha, may the memories be for a blessing. Yit Gadal Yit Kadash Shemei Rabbah, Bi'ilma Divrach Yote V'yamlik Machute, V'chayechon Uvyamechon Uvchayedachol Beit Yisrael, V'agala Uvizman Kari V'imru Amen. Yehesh Me Rabbah Mivarak Le'olam Ulamei Almaya, Yit Barak V'yishtabak V'yit Pa'ar V'yit Bromam V'yit Naseh, V'yitadar, v'yitale, v'yitalal, shemeda kudusha, barichu. Le'elam min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechamata, da'amiram ve'alma v'imru, amen. Yehi shlama rab amin shemaya, v'chaim aleinu v'yakol Yisrael, v'imru, amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'yakol Yisrael, v'imru, amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us and to all Israel, to which we say, amen. Okay, you may be seated. And then announcements. So we have our normal text study tomorrow at 10:30 a.m. And then our morning minyan at 8 a.m. on Wednesday. I'm trying to think what else we have. I think it's probably it for this week. And then we have a bat mitzvah, Idina's bat mitzvah on July 23rd, which is July 20th. Yeah, July 23rd. Yeah, I got that right. Yeah, okay. I don't know where I was going with that. Anything else that I'm missing?
Softball Monday at 6:30 at Shabbat.
Thank you, Seth. Yeah, softball, 10 plagues. Okay, kind of a quieter week. Closing melody. Oh, you're gonna save the community. Good job, you guys. Yeah, I know, right? That's what it's their choice. So you can see whether you suffer or not. But we're doing Shalom Rab, huh? Okay, what page is that on?
Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki atahu melech adon lechol hashalom. Ki atahu melech adon lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam.
Shabbat Shalom, y'all. So please join us for Oneg after this, right in our kitchen area.